Explanation of Test View window in Differential Room Part 1. As mentioned previously, one of the windows in Differential Room is Test View. This window consists of 7 tabs of Short Test, Check Test, Search Test, Stability Setting, Trigger, and Binary Output. In Short Test tab, you can select fault type and the points for the test, and after the test is performed, you can view the results of the evaluation. In this tab, in Test Point section, IDIF and iBias currents, and in Fault Type section, the fault types are determined. After specifying the test currents, the fault type should be selected from among the standard faults available in Fault Type section. These faults include different faults of phase to earth, 2-phase, and 3-phase. Before specifying the current and fault type, you should determine supply direction in Settings section. By clicking on Add, the selected test point is added on the table in this window. By selecting one of the rows and clicking on Insert option, the selected row is repeated in the table, and clicking on Remove option, the selected point is removed. Also, by selecting Add to option, it is possible to copy point or points selected for one of the fault types to another fault type. By clicking on Remove All option, all test points entered in the table are removed. By clicking on Sequence option, Sequence Test Points 2 page opens where it is possible to specify test points with equal steps. In Step section and in the Step On field, by selecting Angle, it is possible to directly specify the angular steps in terms of angle. This means that the test points are specified in accordance with the origin point, and in Origin section, they are determined in a way that the required angles are resulted in proportion with the horizon. For example, if the start and end angles are 45 and 90 degrees respectively, with 5 degrees of steps, and the origin point for IDIF and iBias equal 5 times IN, by approving this setting, you can see that some points are added to the differential characteristic. For example, the last point is selected by doing the mentioned calculation. In the picture, you can see that the resulted angle is 85 and not 90 degrees, which is because the origin point is considered as one of the points, and the last point of this sequence is removed. But by selecting direction, an angle is specified in Angle field, and in this angle from the origin point with the length entered in Length field and with the steps specified in a step size. Some points are short on the characteristic curve. Note that the length and steps of the points are based on nominal current. For example, if the angle is 45 degrees and the length is 5 and the step is 0.5 times the nominal current and the origin point is 0 ampere, by approving this setting, you can see that some points are added to the characteristic curve at the angle of 45 degrees with the origin of 0. If the performed test has failed points, by selecting Clear All Failed Test option, it is possible to clear all these points from the table of this section. In Details section, the information related to trip nominal time, the allowed operation time range, actual time, and test points evaluation are entered in TNOM, TMIN, and TMAX fields, TACT, and stage fields respectively. The test points are entered with detail in the table at the bottom of the page. The details include test evaluation, test current, nominal time, operation time, fault value in terms of percentage and seconds, and the minimum and maximum operation time. Also, if you wish to add a comment about any of the test points, you can use the user comment cell. At the end of this page, it is possible to select test points table from different fault types. After performing the short test, check test and search test are performed. In check test, the upper and lower tolerances of the relay, which are displayed as dotted lines in differential characteristic, are tested and evaluated. To perform check test, first it is necessary to draw some lines named check line in different parts of the vector. To draw this line, first from Origin section, in Check Line section, the start point of this line is specified. In IDIF, iBias, and Angle fields, 2IN, 3IN, and minus 30 degrees are entered as origin differential current, origin bias current, and the angles of the check line respectively. Also, 3IN is entered as the length of the check line. In the cell of the length section, note that the drawn check lines must have at least one intersection with one of the characteristic curve tolerance lines. Then click on Add option to add the check line to the check test table. Another method for drawing the check line is to hold down left click and Control key on differential characteristic window and then move the cursor in the desired direction on the characteristic curve. You can see that the information of the drawn check line is displayed in check test lines table. After drawing on check line, the software evaluates the scoring place of check line and tolerance lines as short tests in accordance with the performance of the relay. Here, after performing the test, the relay does not perform in lower tolerance and performs a trip in the upper tolerance, so the result of the test is pass. Other parts of this section, such as fault type and remove all in sequence, etc., Options are the same as those of short test section which have been explained in previous parts. The only additional option in this section is copy to search. By making any of the test lines and selecting this option, it is possible to copy the selected line in search test, and by selecting add option in search test, add this line to the search test table.